In 1066, when Bungalow William, Bill, the Conqueror, let fly the arrow that killed King Harold, the people said,
"Does Harold know he's got an arrow sticking out of his eye?"
Bungalow Bills Music Store.
Wow. Are all these your guitars?
Of course not. We're in a shop.
Oh, that one is quite nice. What about this super duper one up here, signed by Paul McCartney?
My name is Bungalow Bill. I sell second-hand musical instruments, which I've done for 30 years. I've been in the industry in New Zealand for 46 years. The definitive point, I think, for me was when I heard a track called Telstar, a sort of science fiction thing by the Tornadoes. And without being pretentious in that, you know, England was the place to be in the 60s, and the music, if you're into music, that's where it was happening. And when we arrived in New Zealand, my first opinion was how quaint and how small and how little the buildings were. So what my wife and I, what Pam and I did, we embraced it. We loved it. I just lived and breathed music 24/7. If we go to parties, it might have been at my wife's work do, and the only thing she ever asked was, please don't talk about guitars all night. Started Lab Studio in 1981, which is 35 years ago. A basement of a place that flooded in the winter, you know? So we used to have a sort of a tongue-in-cheek thing, cheap rates at high tide, you know, bring your own flippers, you know? But I'd been messing about with tape recorders and stuff like that since I was 10 years old. So the first major breakthrough was me buying a recorder and then actually committing to, right, I'm going to do this properly. So the major milestones are like what most people go through, the 4-track and then grow to 8-track, 16-track, 24-track, first expensive desk, 10 grand, 1981, 82, not a bread. They were all fucking terrifying financially. And I mean, you'll hear me in this conversation talk about Pam, and that's a support of your wife, you know, or your partner, and I couldn't have done it without that, you know. You know, in life, when you're a kid and that, you're very lucky if you know what you want to do. Very lucky if you know what you want to do. And me, like most kids, did not know what I wanted to do, but later on reflection, I've got the original tape recorder I bought when I was about 10 or 11 years old, and was always messing about with stuff like that. And then I started playing bass guitar at probably about 16 or somewhere like that. But you didn't know it was going to be part of your journey. You didn't know it was all coming together like this. If you get to do what you want, and you manage to keep, and I can't say this enough, if you manage to keep your relationship together, your partner or your wife, and you manage to be a good mum or a good dad, and you scrape a living together, does it get any better? All I'm doing is, at the moment, is I'm living in this fantastic now. A grandson, my wife, my 2 girls, Ollie down here is fantastic, doing the shop, I'm loving it. What amount of money would make you give it up? Nothing. Not a sodden thing. And I'm always saying this, it doesn't get much better, folks. Now. Family. It's rock and roll.